Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. If you're an executive, an IT leader, or honestly anyone responsible for keeping the operational heartbeat of your company pumping, you already know that an ERP is one of the biggest investments your organization will ever make. But there's a hidden trap here, one that catches even the absolute smartest companies, turning multi-million-dollar investments into literal operational nightmares. So today we're going to dive deep into the severe economic and operational risks of over-customizing your ERP systems. Plus, we'll see exactly how using standard, built-in workflows can save you from a seriously expensive fate.
Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to start with the illusion of the perfect fit, then look at the real-world crashes, delays, and financial losses. After that, we'll tackle technical debt, break down the configuration versus customization debate, explore the power of standard processes, and finally, wrap up with the clean core model. All right, let's jump right in.
Section 1. The illusion of customization. When an organization buys a massive new ERP, the initial temptation is just overwhelming. You've got this shiny new system, and you instantly want to perfectly tailor it to match the old habits and workflows your team is already used to.
Which brings us to the million-dollar question. Why do so many incredibly expensive, highly tailored ERP systems ultimately fail? It kind of seems counterintuitive, right? I mean, you spend a fortune uniquely coding a system to fit your business like a glove, assuming that a completely bespoke system guarantees peak operational success. But the research actually shows the exact opposite. Over-customization is literally one of the leading causes of ERP implementation failure.
And here's why. When we map out ERP solutions based on organizational size and complexity against the actual need for IT control, a really clear trend emerges. As companies grow larger and get more complex, they naturally gravitate toward highly controllable on-premise solutions. But here's the catch. They drastically overestimate the amount of bespoke IT control they actually need. They assume their complexity demands custom source code, so they force the software to adapt to them instead of just adapting their operations to the software's built-in best practices.
Okay, Section 2. Crashes, delays, and economic losses. Forcing an ERP to conform to your legacy processes? Yeah, that isn't just an IT headache. It's a massive financial hazard.
Think about this staggering number for a second. $70.3 million. That was the net loss reported by Revlon back in 2018. And the direct cause? Significant operational disruptions from a totally failed ERP implementation. They lacked effective controls and failed to let the system work as intended. That essentially paralyzed their entire manufacturing and distribution operations. We're talking plunging stock prices and massive shareholder lawsuits.
The data backing up these failures is honestly striking. A 2023 study by the ERP Research Group found that projects involving over 20% customization were 64% more likely to face significant delays compared to those with minimal customization. Think about that. If you start rewriting the rules of the system, you can basically kiss your timeline and your budget goodbye.
And you know what? Those delays are just the tip of the iceberg. The hidden financial costs are brutal. Writing custom code means way higher initial development fees. It means massively extended, super complex testing phases. And it means you're going to need highly specialized operational support because the vendor, well, they can no longer easily troubleshoot your unique setup. In fact, research indicates that the lifetime cost of a customized system multiplies to 2 to 5 times its initial development expense. It is an absolute financial drain.
Which leads us right into Section 3, technical debt and the upgrade nightmare. Because once the system is live, the financial bleeding doesn't stop. It just morphs into operational paralysis.
The absolutely crucial concept to grasp here is technical debt. Think of it like building a highly customized house, right? But you've uniquely woven all the electrical wires and plumbing directly into the solid concrete. You can never ever renovate it without tearing the whole house down. Every single piece of custom code acts exactly like compounding interest on your IT budget. It makes the entire system brittle, complex, and incredibly painful to maintain.
And here's how this plays out in the real world when it's time for an ERP upgrade. Say your vendor releases a standard update. Maybe it's a vital security patch or a really great new feature. Well, that update threatens to completely overwrite your custom code. So to upgrade, your IT team has to spend weeks or even months painstakingly rewriting and retesting every bespoke modification. Because the risk and expense are so astronomically high, a lot of organizations just stop. They defer updates indefinitely, they get stuck on outdated, vulnerable systems, which eventually forces a massively expensive re-implementation completely from scratch.
Let's break down these compounding strategic risks over a timeline. In the short term, custom code almost always introduces bugs, which leads to system crashes and really slow response times. move into the midterm, and you're facing severe knowledge loss. The specific developers are consultants who wrote your bespoke code. They eventually move on, and your current staff is left trying to manage this unmanageable black box. And finally, the long-term risk, innovation barriers. You are literally locked out of adopting new, cutting-edge vendor features because your system is just too customized to accept them.
All right, Section 4, configuration versus customization. This is a critical distinction that every executive absolutely needs to understand.
These two terms might sound kind of similar, but trust me, they are worlds apart when it comes to risk. Configuration is just adjusting the built-in settings of the software. You're flipping switches, defining user roles, setting up tax rules, all without ever touching the core code. It's safe, it's stable. Customization, on the other hand, means rewriting or extending the core source code. You are fundamentally altering the software's DNA. Configuration adapts the software safely, customization breaks its foundation.
Section 5, the power of standard processes. Let's talk about your primary mitigation strategy to avoid all those costly pitfalls.
Before your team even thinks about touching a single line of source code, you need to mandate this hierarchy of safe alternatives. Step 1. Maximize all native configuration options. Exhaust those built-in settings first. Step 2. If there really is a genuine gap, utilize bolt-on, third-party solutions. These integrate cleanly via standard APIs without altering the core. And Step 3. Implement UI personalization. Oftentimes, users just want the interface to look a certain way. You can totally personalize user dashboards safely without custom coding the back end. Consider this hard truth. It's a lot more sensible to adapt your way of doing business to industry standards rather than commissioning expensive custom code. Modern ERPs aren't just software. They're built on the aggregated best practices of thousands of top-tier companies. By adapting your internal workflows to match the ERP's standard processes, you achieve superior long-term efficiency, flawless data hygiene, and you protect that IT budget.
And finally, Section 6, moving to the clean core model. This is the modern standard for long-term survival and agility.
So, what is the clean core strategy? It's heavily championed by industry leaders like SAP, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It is a strict commitment to keeping your ERP system as close as possible to its standard, out-of-the-box, vendor-provided state. Think of it as vigorously decluttering your digital workspace. By keeping the core code completely untouched, you can safely and effortlessly apply upgrades, roll out security patches, and leverage external cloud extensions.
But to actually maintain a clean core, you need serious governance. You've got to establish a customization review board to rigorously evaluate any request to alter the system. You need to demand a strict fit gap analysis to prove that a perceived system limitation is actually real. You must require executive oversight for any and all code changes, meaning senior management actually has to sign off on the risk. And finally, you have to focus on continuously integrating those standard best practices right into your corporate culture.
I want to wrap up by leaving you with a bit of a provocative question. The next time your team demands custom code because your internal processes are quote-unquote unique, ask yourself, are your unique business processes actually a competitive advantage that drives real revenue, or are they just inefficient legacy habits your team is too afraid to let go of? Prioritize your organization's long-term survival, financial health, and agility over the short-term comfort of old routines. Keep the core clean, stick to the standards, and just let the software do what it was designed to do. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Until next time, stay focused and keep innovating.